On today's episode of the Mark Titus Show, I am in Chicago. I have officially moved in. There's really nothing to update on the move. The Chicago guys were great. The Chicago movers were awesome. It ended up being ultimately a very smooth move. But yeah, it was a dicey situation getting out of LA. But I'm here. I'm in Chicago. I'm recording from the Barstool office in Chicago. I got the Barstool Chicago stuff behind me. And today for the show, because I have been a Chicago resident for about 48 hours now, I wanted the Barstool Chicago guys to just give me a little, what I'm calling Chicago 101. I wanted to talk to them about the sports scene here, the food, the culture, all sorts of other stuff. I have a familiarity with Chicago because, as I told them, I grew up in Indianapolis, which is not too far from Chicago, but it is not Chicago. It is definitively not Chicago. So I'm a little, I don't know if worried's the right thing, but like I feel like I kind of know the city, but I also don't. And these guys are great. I Chief, White Sox Dave and Eddie, they came on and we just talked through like the sports scene here, which poor Dave, White Sox fan and Northwestern fan, very bleak times for him right now. But I don't know. I think with Justin Fields, I think with the hockey kid Bedard, is that how you say his name? It feels like there might be some hope. So anyway, I talked to these three guys. They're great. They're my new. They've always been my coworkers since I've been here at Barstool, but now it feels more real. Now it feels like we all live in the same city and we're all going to be working out of the same office. So a little Chicago 101 with the Barstool Chicago boys. Please enjoy our conversation. All right, I'm here with the Barstool Chicago guys. We got Chief, we got White Sox Dave, we got Eddie. I officially moved into my place on Saturday. I officially got the keys. I'm now a Chicago resident, so I wanted you guys to come on the show and just talk through, really just do like Chicago 101, like just help me out understanding. So I grew up I was talking to Chief before he came on air. I grew up in Indianapolis, which is kind of like a lot of people associate me with Ohio State, so they think I'm like an Ohio guy, which I kind of technically am, but I have a little bit of familiarity with Chicago because I grew up down the road in Indy and I'm a Cubs fan, but I'm not anywhere close to a Chicago guy, I wouldn't say.
Would you come up here on vacations in high school and stuff?
I wouldn't say vacations, but
long weekends out to Chicago.
We come up with long weekends, yeah. Every so often, like around Christmas time, you do like a long weekend up here. So I'm trying to hit the ground running here. I wanted to do a little Chicago 101. I guess I should start. I moved to Roscoe Village.
Good choice.
Thoughts on that?
Mm-hmm. Are you disclosing your setup?
No, I want to keep it a little private,
okay.
but I'll say,
what's your address?
I'm not afraid to give the neighborhood away because I feel like that's going to get out eventually. Anyway.
No, you're like how you're like how you got your place and shit.
Oh, yeah, because I was telling you guys, yeah.
Yes. I don't know if you are, but
no, let's not, because I don't know.
All right, sorry everybody.
Yeah, I don't know. But Roscoe's fine, right? Like, what's the stereotype
Roscoe's
of Roscoe?
Great. Yeah, Roscoe's great. I think it's like kind of homey, neighborhoody, young families kind of set up, but still like good. Like corner bar, so it's like a good spot.
When I moved in, I had my neighbor told me the one warning he gave me was that kids play wiffle ball in the streets and it gets a little loud. And I was like, I think I'm in the right spot.
That's a warning.
I was like, if that's loud, like where I'm coming from in LA, dude, like that's gonna be. Do Lamborghinis drag race down the street? That's what I wanted to ask you. Like
the whole culture change. Yeah, I feel like they should list wiffle, like kids play wiffle ball. Like put that on the Zillow, like right after like wood burning fireplace. People play wiffle ball. I was like, I'm gonna go fucking strike all these kids. Yeah,
out. Like I can't wait to get out there. And
Dave might move to Roscoe Village now.
So Chicago sports scene. Let's do like a 30,000 foot view of the Chicago sports scene. How would we describe it? Like in one bullet point.
It's complete dog shit.
I mean, first and foremost, as a Bears town.
Yeah,
it's just
it's a Bears town.
So is that why? Because as an outsider, I would say that the last like 10, I don't know where you cut it off, but like the Blackhawks had a good run there. I know they're not awesome now. They got the number 1 pick though. That's exciting.
They're on their way, but yeah, it's
the
like,
Cubs finally get over the hump. The White Sox won a World Series not that long ago, so it feels like that was long ago. there's some winning happening, but like because the Bears are so dog shit, none of that matters.
It's like when the Blackhawks are in their glory years from like 2009 to 15. the Bears, let's say that they were 3-13 or 3-14 now with the schedule at the exact same time. The Bears are still typically the lead story.
Yeah.
Even though, because it's just the Bears take precedence over everything. And then whoever is good would be like the next thing. But it's always Bears, 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 and then whoever.
This is true even like as the Cubs were, like was there ever a moment, has there ever been, because I think like people would say that like the Patriots didn't matter to Boston people forever, and then suddenly because the Patriots won enough, it feels like
true.
Like they earned. Is there a world where that could ever change?
Yeah,
like
I think
the Blackhawks win enough Stanley Cups.
I don't think the Hawks could ever get there.
No, it's hockey.
Hockey will always
Or
be.
the
Yeah.
Bull, I mean, were the Bulls in the '90s, the Jordan Bulls?
Oh, that was
like
it was Bulls town.
I mean, the Cubs
Yeah,
were
it
the
was both.
exception in 2016
Yeah.
for sure, because I mean we were going through like the John Fox years and it was just terrible.
Right.
And so the Cubs, and you're going for the first
Right.
championship in 108 years. So
Yeah, but it would still like even probably that October, it was like 50-50. If you're gonna like the old sports talk radio like barometer, if it's like the phone lines are filled up for Bears and Cubs.
want to
Yeah.
talk
Like,
Pernell
let's-
McPhee.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll talk about like random guys, and it's like the NFL I think is king everywhere, but I think it's
Yeah,
especially
that's
true
true.
here.
That's true. And so how, I mean, like what I told TJ on a show not too long ago, when I moved to LA, almost immediately, and I'm not saying it's me, but a lot of people are. There's a lot of chatter out there that it was me. That the Lakers immediately win a title, the Dodgers win a title, the Rams win a title. So I told TJ I have personally guaranteed that, assuming I live in Chicago for the next 5 years, which I plan on doing, I will bring the city of Chicago a title. And then we started discussing like where's it coming from, basically. What are the best options we have? And you guys are obviously way more qualified to answer this than I was. I think we landed on, I can't remember, I don't know enough about hockey. This kid they got is
He's gonna be awesome.
What's his name again?
Connor Bedard.
Connor Bedard.
Yeah, he's
Generational.
It's his birthday today, actually. He turned 18 today, so happy birthday, Connor Bedard. He is going to be like a super
So is
superstar.
there like hope that the Blackhawks are? I assume they were dog shit. That's how they got the number one pick.
They've been dog
So
shit.
is there hope that like they're actually going to be? I mean, not win the cup next year, but like,
No.
what's the timeline here? What are
I
we
think
talking
the
in terms
timeline
of?
for a cup, it's like you hope that in 3 years from right now is when they're like starting to knock on the door.
The window starts opening up. Yeah,
But it kind of closes quickly because as soon as they're going to be bad again, but they're going to be very young, and it's like as soon as they start getting good, they're going to have to start paying everybody.
Okay.
So it's like kind of a tight window. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think if I were going to be putting a future on any of the 5 teams, I think it'd be the Bears before the Hawks.
Well, that's what I think. I ultimately landed on the Bears, and I it's probably because I'm a Justin Fields guy, because I'm a Buckeye, so I have a vested interest in Fields being awesome. But it's like it feels like it's easier in the NFL. Like he has to be the guy for the Bears to do it. Obviously,
Yeah.
like he has to be that dude. Which we all think. Are we all Fields guys in this room?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think we're all
right.
believers.
That's exciting. Oof, I was
Yes.
worried. I was
No,
worried.
we're all believers.
Yeah. All right.
For
All right. But I use like I'm not saying he's as good as Joe Burrow, whatever, but like if you would have said about the Cincinnati Bengals, like right before Joe Burrow, if you would have been like the Cincinnati Bengals will be competing for Super Bowls, you would have been laughed out of the room, and then
Totally.
it just kind of happens in a snap of a finger. So I think the way the NFL works, it's a little easier. Basketball is fucking impossible. Like it's
Yeah.
If you don't have LeBron or one of those type guys,
and I think the Bulls right now are, I wouldn't say like a fun, but like they're stuck in the purgatory that the Pacers always have seemed to be in, like most of my adult life, where like you're good enough to compete, but you're not good enough. Everybody knows going into the season you're not winning the title or coming anywhere close.
Yeah.
But
could be that 6th seed maybe.
But they're also like there'll be nights where you watch them and you start falling in love with the players. Is that an accurate assessment? Like we like the team, but they're never.
Well, the Bulls
Not
are
really.
extremely popular in the city too. They
yeah.
sell out almost every night. Like their attendance is really good,
Yep.
and even when they're dog shit. So, but I don't know. I think everyone is.
I feel like they're
pretty down on
worse
the
than
Bulls.
purgatory now.
They're-
Yeah, like after
Yeah.
this Vucevic trade, it was like we got mopped on that one.
Yeah.
Like we got mopped.
But at the time, there was like that brief run at the beginning. What year was that? Now 21. where they were the 1 seed in like December or something like that.
It was last year.
No,
No, it was last year.
2 years
Last
ago.
year's season. No, it was last year.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh
it's
yeah,
last
yeah,
year.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
But it was December of 21.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, December of 21. They were the 1 seed. They were a fun team to watch. Like when Lonzo was healthy, they were sharing the ball. Billy Donovan's the coach. Levine was playing. Like it was like, hey, like this could be like probably not going to win a title, but they could get make a little run in the playoffs. And I think after being in purgatory for forever, it felt better than what it had been. And now it's just like, well, that was completely pointless.
That's what sucks about the NBA as compared to the other professional leagues is that you have a very clear idea of whether you can win a title. Like most of the league has that. You can't like play your way into being a contender,
Right.
you know. And like baseball, you can sometimes like a team's a little better than we thought they'd be, and you're like, oh, this is fun. And then who the hell knows once you get to the playoffs? And
It happens in hockey. All
Football
the time.
even that can
Yeah.
happen at times, where you don't have to be a fucking juggernaut to win the Super Bowl per se. But in basketball, it's such a kick in the dick to like go into you're like it's 2 weeks into the season, you're like we have zero shot of winning.
It's almost even like the playoffs. I feel like you could just start in the quarterfinal.
Yeah,
like you
pretty
could just
much,
eliminate half. Like the whole first round is just kind of pointless.
So the Bears is there optimism with the Bears? Is there?
a lot
would
of
you
it.
describe
Yeah.
that as optimistic?
Well, why don't you start with that? He's like the most cautious of the group.
Yeah. Well, here's how it kind of breaks down. So, like, when we came in, like, I predominantly covered the Bears. He obviously covered the White Sox. He all covered the Blackhawks. But, like, we are all more cautious when it's, like, our team, I guess. And when it's someone else, like, when it's the other one, everyone's so optimistic,
Yeah.
But I think we all fully expect them to compete for a wild card this year, which is not saying a ton because, like, Carolina tried to tank last year.
Yeah,
and they were
they
in the
almost
hunt.
got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with the added wild card, it's not saying a ton, but the general thought process here is the schedule's not great, but we also
Rutgers is
not
out
great,
of the
like,
division.
Yes.
Built
Yeah.
offensive line.
Well, and that was
added
like the other
DJ
thing.
Moore.
Where you said like the whole Burrow thing versus Fields. Like, can the Bears get there? All the best quarterbacks in the AFC.
Yeah.
So it's like if you if Fields somehow can just become the best quarterback in the NFC or in that conversation with Hurts, then it's like they got a path. Yeah.
I fucking love Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys
But
like him.
I think that's a general feeling too. Is I think we all think Justin Fields is the guy, and when we say the guy, it's like we think he could make the playoffs, win playoff games. As far as win a Super Bowl, I don't know. There's only like 4 guys who could do that.
Well, that's the thing. That's
Right?
the thing when people talk about quarterbacks in the NFL. If you made a list of like unassailable, these guys are definitively great NFL quarter. It feels like there's 4 guys. They're like 5. Like the list is. So not even Fields aside, just like every guy in the league, it feels like the way people talk about quarterbacks is unless you're like a standard of a guy who's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Everyone says you're dog shit.
Right.
And I don't really
Yeah.
necessarily think that I think there is a middle ground where like you could be a pretty good player, and yet for some reason the way quarterbacks get talked about, it's like because I don't know like when I'm consuming like football content. Sometimes I just sit back and I'm like, damn, if you listen to the way people judge quarterbacks, you would think there are literally like 5 good quarterbacks in the world.
Yes.
And that's it.
There's 5
Maybe
guys.
there are people listening, they're like, there are only 5,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Well, it's like there's 5 guys that you're like, yeah, give him $400 million.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's like everyone's kind of like,
But I think the problem with Fields is that when you start saying he's the guy, everyone thinks you're talking about him on that level, which he might. I think he eventually could be. He has the potential to
Sure.
be. But I don't think we're saying he's that. We're just like,
Yes.
it's like our standard for what the guy is in this town is
much
Yes.
low.
Yes.
We're
And
grading on a curve.
That's why I kind of qualified it that way,
Yeah.
because I don't know if he's going to win a Super Bowl, but like I think he's going to get us.
if he is the starting quarterback for the next 7, 8, 9, like that feels like you've got a guy. That's
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure. You know what I
definitely.
mean? Like that.
Well,
that is,
next year's the make or break year for him.
Well, this
yeah.
year.
This upcoming season.
coming season, yeah. And they got Carolina's pick, and so
Are we worried about Are we worried about like basically like Dan coming to town and like having like are we worried about the Barstool as Barstool comes to Chicago and I'm worried about this. So I'm just gonna say I'm worried about this that the friendship we try to create too much of a friendship with because my attitude towards it is like kind of let Justin Fields be and just kind of leave him over there and and I'm worried that like PMT is gonna like try to get in the mix and like be having calling Justin Fields. You know how they do.
It's interesting because
like where Dan's blowing up his phone all the time and like trying to get dinner with Fields the night before games and stuff like that. And it's like, just let him, keep him over there, dude. Let him focus.
That's interesting you say that, because when we met him in Arizona, you did not want a picture with him.
I did not want to picture.
Yes.
Yeah. He came on PMT. He came to the Barstool house in Arizona, and I was trying to sit off to the side, and Dan was like, "Why don't you just get a picture with them?" And I was like, "I don't." Because of what I just said, I don't want to fucking, I don't want to shake, I don't want to touch his hand, I don't want to fucking, like, he's in the zone right now.
Yeah.
He's like, he's not in the zone, it's the off season. I was like,
he's always in the zone. That's why he's the guy.
Yeah. No, I wasn't like, I don't get starstruck or anything. It was just kind of like, I don't. That's just not how I'm wired. I don't know. I was like, I love the guy. He's my favorite quarterback in Ohio State history. I just like didn't really necessarily need a picture. And I didn't feel like he needed to know that either. I was like, I don't like,
bro, I love you.
Yeah, I love you. So like, I was like, I don't really know what to say to him, but
so if I tag you, will you follow me back?
Yeah. So are we best friends now? Yeah. How does this work?
Well, that's kind of what happened with Cutler. Like he was like best friends with Jay, and it was very hard on Dan at certain points.
Yeah, when do we sit Dan down and we say like, dude, like you're like Justin is the guy. Like, don't ruin this.
Yeah.
Stop ruining this.
But I feel like with Mitch, it put Dan and like probably put Dan in a hard spot because Caleb was Mitch's like legitimate best friend. He can't just be like, this guy's not the fucking guy.
Yeah.
So it's like,
but he was very fair with Mitch.
No, I would agree, but it was like even Dan would say it was a little awkward.
Oh yeah, of course. It was awkward I kind of felt awkward.
Yeah.
That's a
little weird.
That's
yeah.
Would have been cool if he was awesome though.
It would have been cool.
Would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome if he was awesome.
Let's go through all the Bears quarterbacks in the last 20 years. You tell me, would it have been awesome if they were awesome?
Yeah.
All right, let's.
Rex.
Yeah, that would have been fucking sick if he was really. So why? If we're optimistic about the Blackhawks, we're optimistic about the Bears. The Bulls, they're stuck. I feel like the Bulls are going to be stuck for a while. I mean, I like DeRozan and Levine, but are they going to trade Levine? That's like they've been talking about trading him for years, haven't they?
Levine had a quote the other day where it's like, eventually like there's so much smoke that there has to be fire. Like, did you see that?
I did not.
Yeah, I saw something somewhere as I was like doing hasty research to talk to you guys. Levine this year is expected to become the fourth all-time leading scorer in Bulls history.
Already? Yeah,
I think like he'll be.
That's pretty crazy.
So who would it be?
It's Pippen and Jordan, and then I forget who else was on the.
Was it Rose?
No, I think he's gonna pass Derrick Rose this year. That blew my mind. I was like, Zach Levine's gonna be more.
Jesus.
Like the fourth all time. Maybe that was a bad stat. There's a lot of bad stats floating around.
Are we hanging 8 in the rafters?
Yeah, I know.
Jeez.
But the Bulls to me feel like a team that like is waiting to sign their superstar. Like DeRozan and Levine are supposed to be but
they've been waiting since that Tracy McGrady, Grant Hill, Tim Duncan class in like year 2000.
The way that I like the roster, but I also like I'm like it feels like they're setting. This is the roster that you build to then like somehow, get Giannis from Milwaukee to sign, and then you have the champion. But like, there's no way they're winning a tie, especially with like Lonzo being. He's not going to play this year.
Nope.
They already granted them like the
exception.
The exception, yeah. So they get like $10 million, which Jerry will put right in his pocket, and
And then the baseball situation.
How much time do you have?
The Sox and the Cubs are what? Like this, they're like kind of in the same boat.
The Cubs should be fine moving forward. The Sox, they're just bad organization, top to bottom.
What's
zero hope?
What's bad? Go ahead, Dave.
I mean, we're
Chief and Ed. You're just like
bad ownership, bad front office, bad players, bad bat boy, bad stadium operations, bad player development, bad drafting. Like every single thing they do wrong.
What hope is there? Like how do you get out of this? How do you get out of this?
The owner has to sell the team. They have to start from like complete scratch. That's the only possible way. It's a bad organization. It's sad. It's very sad what they've done to it.
This is
it's a proud fan base.
They have taken away Dave's soul, because if he did that rant maybe in March, he would have been foaming at the mouth. Now he can't even muster like the strength.
Anger. How long has it been hopeless?
This
is as bad as
I would
it's
say
ever been.
when they hired LaRussa.
Yeah.
80-year-old
Yeah, they
LaRussa.
hired,
that was like when it was like,
was
okay,
so sweet.
this is the dumbest fucking organization on earth. But you thought the players were going to be so good that the manager wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
So it's just like he can just sit there and fill out the lineup court, and they'll go hit 30 bombs a piece and win Cy Youngs.
I know he's not playing well right now. That aside, just in general, over the course of his White Sox tenure, are you a Lance Lynn guy?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I went to high school with Lance. Lance was
Brownsburg guy.
a Brownsburg guy.
Really?
That's got
Good dogs.
it's got a loaded athletic history. Brownsburg.
Yeah, oh,
does.
yeah,
My
very,
buddy's
very
a
good.
wrestling coach here now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dude, let's talk Brownsburg. Yeah,
Let's talk Brownsburg.
Tucker Barnhart.
Tucker Barnhart, another one.
Gordon Hayward.
Gordon Hayward.
Yep.
Oh no shit.
It's NBA.
Drew Storen.
Drew Storen.
Yep.
I knew there's a handful of MLB guys that are currently playing for Brownsburg. Who in the NFL?
There's a kid named Chris Jones that played at Bowling Green. I think he played for the Patriots. I think he technically won a Super Bowl with the Patriots. I don't know.
Is that where the fucking
Hunter
State
Hunter
kid?
Johnson was a quarterback
at Northwestern
that went to
and
Northwestern
Clemson, yeah.
Clemson.
He was a
from
big
Brownsburg.
time recruit.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. His favorite team in the world is the White Sox. His second favorite team is Northwestern football.
Yeah.
Rough. It's
been a rough go of things. Yeah. It's been a rough go.
Yeah, so
Dave's had a year.
So that's why when I asked you what the Chicago sports scene is like, you're just like, it's all bad.
It's all well. I mean, you're talking about hope. You're always talking about hope for the fucking Bears, and like the Hawks had that 10-year run, 7-8 year run, whatever it was. The Cubs had like a 3-4 year window of like awesome, but other than that, you're just like
you hate
banking on
Do you
hope.
hate the Cubs?
I hate the Cubs. Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, like I'm.
You had
It's more apathetic to me.
Wait.
You hate the White Sox a billion times more than you hate the Cubs.
You had there's an incident, right, where you were like,
Yeah,
this is
Cusack.
a brand new audience,
Cusack.
Dave.
Cusack.
Yeah.
You had what? So you were.
That's
mad
like
that he
wearing
was cheering
Michigan
for,
and Ohio State shit.
Is
not
that
quite the same because they're not technically rivals. They're
because this
they're
is
competing
helpful
for eyeballs
because
instead of like on the field for the most part.
this is helpful because I've been a Cubs fan my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a baseball team in Indianapolis. Most people, especially like in the
Got the
90s, obviously
Indians.
with WGN and we do have the Indianapolis Indians. But in the 90s, all my friends, we grew up watching the Cubs because they were on TV
Right, yeah.
and they were the closest team.
It was slamming Santa.
But I'm not a Chicago guy, so like I never really had any. My frustration with the White Sox is that sometimes they'd be on WGN when I thought the Cubs were supposed to be on, and like
That'd be frustrating. Yeah.
annoying.
but but otherwise I was like, there's no, in my mind as a kid in Indy, I was like, there's no rivalry.
Nah, as
but
a
obviously
whole-
in Chicago there is. So why is that? Why
Most
would you?
Cubs fans don't give it. They don't even like acknowledge the White Sox existence. Every Sox fan loathes the Cubs. That's how it breaks down.
It's
as
like
a
Purdue,
whole.
Notre Dame, kind of.
But why? I guess like why? Especially like if for the longest time they never played each other, and I know
Right.
now it's been
you're
going on
just-
20 years or whatever. That they do,
city
but-
rivalry, where you're from in the city.
Okay.
Neighborhood, region, loyalty.
But
Um,
so Cusack was cheering for both teams. and that was
he's
that's
a pink cat. I don't deal with pink cats. Pink cats are no go to
He's
me.
a split jersey guy.
Yeah, you don't do that. I think that's just go ahead and do it. I think it's lame. Like I don't actually care, but like
No,
I actually think it's lame.
You do care.
So if
And you
I
should care.
if I was happy, if I was living in this city and the White Sox get good again. And,
Yes, that you're not allowed to.
I'm not saying I'm rooting for him, but like all things being equal, it's like White Sox versus like Padres in the World Series, and I'm gonna probably cheer for the White Sox because I'll be like it's Chicago versus
that's not allowed.
That's not good.
That's
you
not
don't
allowed.
want that? Okay.
No. No, only those who have always rooting for the White Sox, unless you have like financial interest in it, like you bet them around future or something.
Yeah. You can't. Dave doesn't want you to be able to experience joy for more than one team.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So like you can't be like, hell yeah, Cubs won it in 16, and then the White Sox are good in what year is that? 21.
Yeah.
you can't just be like, fuck yeah, like let's go win a World Series. Like,
Yeah,
you can't-
like that's what I
No
told
joy.
Tuesday. I'm like,
Only
part
one
of being
team
a
can
sports
bring you
fan is
joy.
being miserable a lot of it.
which is true.
So
It is.
So you can't. So yeah, that's it. You have to endure the pain to be able
experience
to
the happiness.
The happiness, and so the problem for you is that no one's going through there because the people. If in 5 years the White Sox are in the World Series, the people that will be cheering for them that aren't suffering through right now. You hate all those people.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I wish the worst on those people. Yes.
So you would rather me not cheer for you? Would
No, keep it to yourself. I'll have words for you.
Okay.
That's what
Yeah.
Chiefs on the ban list.
So
What if you want he wants you to sell some T-shirts?
That-
Yeah.
He wants
no.
you to- no.
what if I want you to be happy? That's ultimately
No.
what-
No.
You don't wanna be
get
happy.
You don't get to root for any of my emotions.
I
Like misery, yes, that's what you should be doing is rooting for me to be miserable.
But that I want my friends to be happy.
I don't
we're
want
not
any
friends
one of my
yet.
friends
I
to
guess
be
we're not friends yet.
by
Is that-
happy. When the Cubs won in 2016, like I watched it alone. I could hear all the fireworks and cars honking their horns and people having the time of their life. I just stared at the ceiling.
So do you think?
He said it was the worst day of
It
his
was
life.
the worst day of my life. It was the worst day of my life.
Do you find that there are more people like you or not like you in this city?
He's a 1 in a trillion.
No, there are people that would agree with me on this, though.
I agree with you on
Yeah.
Oh,
that.
yeah. Most would.
Okay.
Yeah, most
would.
would, I would say.
For sure.
But
Okay.
that doesesn't mean there's people like Dave. There's nobody like Dave.
No.
To be
I'm the
clear,
best.
I'm
the
not.
one that-
I'm not.
I'm a unicorn.
I would not cheer. I would not be. I was just saying, like, all things being equal. Like, if the White Sox were playing the Yankees, I don't particularly like the Yankees, so I would probably.
I would hope not.
So you're saying, like, as a Cubs guy, the White Sox have to be number one on my list of, like, do not cheer for this team under any circumstances.
No, I'd say Cardinals.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah,
Cardinals are
Cardinals,
the team I hate the most.
Probably
Yeah.
Brewers too.
Okay.
So if that was the World Series and you being from Indy, like you don't care about the White Sox, that's a little different. Because I'm
hold
sure
him
you
to a
got
different standard.
You gotta.
No, it's
sure
fine.
Heavy.
I'm ultimately going to do what I want to do. I just want to be careful with like if the Sox are in the World Series and you go up like 2-0 in the World Series and I come into the office and I'm like, Dave, how about that? I don't want. Yeah, you're gonna bite my head off. Yeah,
Yeah, you just can't be happy.
That's
about it.
yeah. That's a foreign experience to me, I guess.
But you do harbor like heavy hatred for the Cardinals. I'm assuming.
I
right?
do. Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
so
Yeah, I hate
that's-
the Cardinals. Yes.
That's different.
Yeah, I hate the Cardinals. Yeah.
Yeah, the Knicks.
The Knicks.
Yeah.
I don't think I hate the Knicks.
Is there a basketball team you hate?
In the NBA? Probably the Celtics. It's probably the Celtics. The Celtics, yeah, the Celtics. Like working in sports media and like having to talk about just I don't know. I've done this rant on my show 1,000 times. I did it during the playoffs, and it just that the Celtics go down 3-0 to the Heat, and then they won one game, and like you had. I was in New York at the time when like they won Game 4, and then I'm going around the office and like all the all the massholes we have working at Barstool, and they're the social people are putting cameras in my face and they're like, can the Celtics do it? And I'm like, this is fucking like if this was the Chicago Bulls and they won Game 4 to not get swept, there's not a soul on earth that'd be like, do you think the Bulls can come back and win the series?
You should have
but
saw
because it's the
Fasoli in here.
Celtics. Because it's the Celtics, everyone's like, "Uh-oh, are the Celtics?" And I was
Right.
like, "This is so that kind of
And then
shit."
they almost did it.
They got stomped in Game 7.
They
Yeah,
did,
they
but
still
they
forced
brought
it.
it to
But
a
I
game
know, but that's what I'm
7.
saying.
I
Is
was
that
kind of
like-
You probably
shaking
were
my
a
pants.
little nervous Game 7.
Going into Game 7, I thought we officially like have like now I would entertain the question of like, can they win? But like they were. Like it's so hard to do it, but because I don't need to do the ranting. Like the people that listen to my show are like, "Goddamn, we're doing this again." But but that's why I would say I hate this. Like working in sports media and working in basketball, like you have to answer questions about a team that's won one title in 40 years, and like going into every season and go that's all anyone. There's just an absurd. I mean, obviously we work at Barstool. That's what it is. But it's outside of Barstool, even it's just like every company I've ever worked at. So many people from Boston that just like want to talk about the Celtics, which like I get with the Patriots, I get it with the Red Sox. The Celtics is confusing to me because I'm like they've won one title in basically 40 years.
They do the same thing with the Bruins too.
They feel like everybody should talk about the Bruins at all times,
and that they're the best.
And they're
if
the
they
best.
lose,
Yeah.
it's like
The New Ireland era of just cocky. They got really insufferable for a hot minute there. That 15-year window, they're the worst people.
The Boston people
Boston
in general.
fans, yeah.
But like some of it, I mean, like when you're winning that much, I don't.
I would be that.
That's
way.
always been my problem. Is 'cause,
I hope to be that way.
Yeah, as a basketball guy, I was like, I understand why Boston has the air about them, but don't bring that shit into the basketball realm because like that's not reality. Like Tom Brady winning Super Bowls for you means nothing for your basketball franchise. I don't know.
They do seem to transfer like that arrogance over though.
But that's exactly why I got so worried. Like because the Red Sox once upon a time were down 3-0. They came back to beat the Yankees.
Exactly.
Now we have to entertain the idea of a completely different group of dudes wearing completely different colors. Now all these years later, they're going to now do this. They're going to come back from 3-0 and pull it off, and that was what was frustrating. Quick break to talk about our friends at Coors Light. Everyone thinks about the day they'll eventually get to retire. Boy, don't I know it. I think about it constantly. And enjoy all the freedom that comes with it. But who says we have to wait to decide before we get to kick back and chill out? Take advantage of that free will and spend the summer chilling like a retiree. And pair those moments with Coors Light, the beer that's made to chill. It's the beer literally made to chill. It pairs well with a retired state of mind. The mountains on the bottles and cans even turn blue when your beer is cold, so you know when it's time to grab another. Perfect for all your summer plans or lack thereof. No judgment here. I will say this about Coors Light as well. Versatile. Absolutely versatile. Moving into my new place here in Chicago, one of the first things I did, I went to this, I got a dive bar around the corner that like doubles as a convenience store. Very cool little setup they got there. So I'm drinking some Coors Lights over there. I take a 6-pack home with me, and I'm drinking Coors Lights as I'm moving stuff in. So it's like a working beer, like I'm carrying stuff. We're unloading boxes. And every so often I need a swig of Coors Light to refresh me as I'm on my feet working. And then tonight I'm going to a Cubs game. I'm going to Wrigley, my first Cubs game as a Chicago resident. And go ahead and take one guess at what I'll be drinking at the ballpark tonight. It's going to be your Coors Light. So I'm going to kick back. I'm going to relax. I'm going to be a retiree, and I'm going to drink Coors Light. Wherever you're at on the spectrum, however much work you're putting in, this summer, chill like you've retired with Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/Titus. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. All right, well, that's I don't know what we learned from
turned into a big sports
Chicago.
talk. Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
I think the two big things, though, as far as you living here, you already have two big pillars. Like you're from the Midwest, and you went to a Big Ten school.
That is
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Like, that's monster Chicago. Like you're like,
Yeah.
it's like a glove, man.
That's I moved in on Saturday. We're recording this Monday afternoon, so it's been like 48 hours, and I think I have seen representation from every single Big Ten
yeah.
school.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the Big
Every
Ten
single
capital
one.
of the
Like
world.
It's cool in the
bumper
fall.
stickers and flags and all that sort of thing. I'm so excited for football. Yeah,
Everybody wears their
football.
colors.
Back when
on
I was
Saturday.
a Northwestern football fan, I used to take the train up here at like 7 a.m. to Evanston. And when you're cutting on the red line, it turns into the purple line through Lincoln Park. You'll see all the bars start to pack up, and all the bars have different affiliations, like Ohio State bar, Iowa bar. Everybody will be in their colors. It's awesome.
That's
it's
cool.
Super fucking cool.
Are you a Northwestern basketball
Yeah.
guy too? Mm-hmm. You like Northwestern across the board?
I do.
he said they Final Four this year.
I think they're going to be fucking awesome this year.
They're
they
gonna
brought
be
back
good.
the entire team, and they added that Princeton sharpshooter, and that's the only thing. They couldn't hit a 3 last year.
Yeah.
And they
Final
added that
Four.
kid
You buying that
just-
steam or not though?
I'm absolutely not. No.
I mean,
absolutely not.
they.
But I'll
I'm not. Ed says that if they went to the Final Four this year, like, obviously it's an insane long shot, but I personally would not be all of that surprised.
Northwestern basketball.
It's the best team they've ever had by a light year.
Northwestern basketball is not a joke anymore, and I say that in all sincerity, that like losing to Northwest, the days of like you lose, because when I was at Ohio State, I think it was John Scherna had a shot to beat us. At
He
the
did.
buzzer.
I remember it.
Yeah,
Yes.
and he missed, and that felt like a loss. Like just like the fact that like Northwestern had a shot to
they
beat
were
us.
beating
like,
you guys with like 5 fucking seconds left by like 5 points. I was listening to the radio. I remember the exact fucking game.
The vibe.
You guys were ranked first, I think. Was that with Odin?
That wouldn't have been Odin. No, that wouldn't have been the Sherna team. But that would have been Sherna, or was that was the year after I graduated. Ohio was the like Jared Solinger's first year. Ohio State started like 20-0, and they were ranked number 1. That was my first year off the team, and I think that might have been that year. Then
I think that sounds correct.
We almost lost to Northwestern. I want to say
they went to
when I was on the team, but like just like when you almost lost to Northwestern, that was a loss. Like in the locker room, we were like, Jesus Christ, what almost that was terrible. Like what I can't believe.
Self-reflection.
Sherna was good though. Sherna was fun to watch.
And now you can lose to Northwestern, and it's not. They're a respectable program. This is a huge W for Chris Collins, by the way. I think this Pat Fitzgerald stuff is a huge W.
Oh yeah,
I think he's like.
He's
the happiest guy on earth.
Yeah,
it
like,
is.
That's been in the back of my head since this happened. Because prior to
Did
last
they fire
year,
the baseball guy coach too?
Yeah, they should have fired him. That's a whole different can of worms. But he should have been gone months and months ago. The fact that Fitz was fired before him says everything you need to know about what's going on in that like that C-suite, I guess, with the AD and everything. It's a shit show over there. Yeah, they should, if they weren't a founding member of the Big Ten, they should just like fucking get kicked out of it. Their football program is going to be dead for the next decade. It really is. They set themselves back so fucking far.
I was at the Ohio State Northwestern game this year, and the wind, it was like 50-mile-an-hour winds.
And Northwestern, it was like 21-7 or something.
Yeah, I left at halftime because I was like, this is.
It was the stupidest game.
Stupidest game ever. I thought
it was close because of the weather, but it was like 1,000-mile-an-hour winds. You couldn't throw the ball at all.
I'm cursing Ryan Day like crazy because like it's unconscionable to me that you're playing Big Ten football and you can't just like smash the ball down someone's throat when you're Ohio State and
especially a team that bad.
Yeah,
but they were just putting like 11 guys in the box and you couldn't do anything because the weather was so bad.
And we were still just trying to throw the ball like 100 times.
I bet against Northwestern that day. I was in Michigan for something. I forget why. So you could legally do it, and I hammered Ohio State thinking it was going to be a 1,000-point loss, and then the weather fucked me.
Yeah, there was a.
You just can't catch a break.
I couldn't. Yeah.
At the end of one of the quarter, I think it was the first quarter break. They did the promotion where you kick the field goal to win the $100 gift card or whatever. And they made the poor son of a bitch kick into the wind. And he's like kicking from the 10-yard line.
Goes backwards.
And then it just goes straight in the air and land. And that was one of the funnier things. What about like Chicago life stuff? Like what's the I don't know. Like what do I need to know to live in this city? The hot dog thing is like very bizarre to me. Like that, if I'm being completely honest, as I'm stepping into this city, like calm down about the hot dogs. If I'm like, I agree. I don't even eat hot dogs that often, so I don't really care. But like the fact that like that is, that's not great branding from Chicago. If I'm being honest, that's like one of the things is like,
I think
welcome
it's
to
the
Chicago.
dumbest tradition we
Rule
have.
number 1: here's how you do up your hot dog. And I'm like, well, I don't really fucking eat hot dogs, so I don't really have to worry about that. But like, what a weird.
It's the dumbest tradition.
To each their own. I mean, Glenny comes here and he's like, I need a Chicago dog as soon as I get off that plane.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's if you like respect the hot dog, then it's part of the thing.
Like, what?
Gotta respect.
This guy
the hot
doesn't
dog.
respect hot dogs.
I don't respect
That's what
the
it
hot
sounded
dog.
like.
Yeah.
So I serious question: How is this going to get me in trouble? Is this a problem? I can't be going around town like saying,
By guys like Eddie,
what's
yeah.
the deal with the hot dogs?
Like, watch your tone around tubular meats a little bit. Like, tubular meats are a big deal here, like Polish is Italian,
Cased meats are a big deal.
All right, cased meats in
It's
general.
just like,
that's good to know. That's
whisper
good to know.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't say it on a podcast.
Yeah, I would never be like, hey, this is how you should eat your hot dog. But if you were telling me how I should eat my hot dog, I'd be like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like, this is a good way to eat a hot dog.
But you know that. I mean, you're coming from a city where acai bowls and fucking salad. Like you're coming
we don't
here.
have hot dogs in LA.
Yeah.
In LA, there's no such thing as hot dogs.
Yeah. The lunch culture is probably a little different.
A little different.
We got a poke place next door though for you.
I have so many friends that are just like, I swear they're making side bets about how quickly I'm going to put on 20 pounds.
Oh, I was just about to tell you, get prepared to, especially over the winter. When you hardly see daylight. You know, you're waking up, it's dark. Get home,
I've the amount of bars that are close to my place that I can walk to is alarming. That will certainly be a new experience. The drinking culture here is, I imagine.
It's a lot.
I'm
doing.
I think it's
I'm
little
doing dry July because of it.
Different than New York.
It's been tough.
I've noticed at least. I'm judging this based off our coworkers mostly, but New York is like you go out 5 nights a week.
Yeah,
not like that here. It's more when you do go out, you go fucking hard.
Yeah, I have been. I'm not qualified to say it, but I've just been very confident that the people are nice here because I'm a Midwest guy, but I've never lived in Chicago, and I feel like Chicago. If there's one place in the Midwest that might not have all the same Midwest sensibilities that like Indianapolis and Columbus and all these other podunk in comparison to Chicago cities have, it would be Chicago. So am I correct in assuming that the people are nice? I feel like the people are nice every time I come here, but
yeah, Spider was talking about this the other day where he was just like, I'm blown away by how even the doorman and people are we're
coming from New York,
right, exactly, yeah.
Don't get me wrong,
everybody's nicer.
You find there's jagoffs everywhere. You take it to whatever far south, northwest side. There's some dickhead kids the softball tournament we were just at. That those exist, but I think a big thing though is there's a lot of helping culture here. People want to help you out.
When I was moving in, both neighbors on both sides came over and just started talking to me and where are you from? Where are you moving from?
Yeah,
all that. That was even. I lived.
Did you tell them L.A. or you're like, I'm from?
No. I didn't say L.A. I was smart enough to not tell.
Fuck this guy. Yeah.
Dude, in L.A. I didn't. My apartment. I lived there for over 3 years, and I don't think I really talked to anybody.
Yeah.
And you just kind of look at your feet as you're walking in the halls. And And so that's been a nice change. The leisure stuff. Is there a softball? Thing
every night of the week, every day of the week.
That's the thing here.
But it's 16-inch here,
and you play with no glove.
Do they have to be?
Yeah, but it's predominant. That's Chicago.
That's the
most popular.
It's Chicago style. Yeah, for sure.
All right, is that what we're gonna do? I don't mean us four, but Barstool and Jim.
I'm sure there'll be a team for sure.
I would guess we get
a team
together.
Yeah. Bowling. That was always big in Columbus. I felt but Columbus there's not a lot of shit to do.
I stopped bowling when they outlawed cigarettes indoors.
I like bowling.
And that's a big winter. People are always just looking for shit to do in the winter because you're so cooped up.
Yeah.
And bowling's A1.
I don't mind bowling on a hot day too. They always got A+ air conditioning.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
bowling alleys do got good AC. Yeah. That is true.
Yep.
All right. Is there anything else I need to know? I mean, I don't know.
You had a beef yet? Italian beef?
No,
that's probably more. That's probably.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the food. I am a little worried about the food scene because I don't. It seems the hot dog thing is intimidating.
You like steakhouses?
I do like steakhouses.
We got plenty of those.
I love steakhouses. Yep. The pizza I do like. I just don't want to wait an hour for them to make it. The deep dish. I do like the deep dish, but it's just
Yeah.
Bro,
every time you order it, I'm fucking starving, dude. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Well,
I can't wait an hour for you to make
25 pounds, it maybe
stay from the deep dish.
Deep dishes.
Are you St. Elmo's? Is that the pinnacle for you?
We could never afford St. Elmo's when I was growing up, and every time I go back to Indy now, it's for an event. So St. Elmo's is usually it's over. If I'm going back for the Indy 500, St. Elmo's is impossible to get into because
you can't drop a Club Trillion on them.
I've been I should try that.
Yeah.
I've been to St. Elmo's twice, and it's really good, but it's not it's not a place that I lived in because. Yeah,
I want to take Spider to.
Sure.
I mean, this wouldn't even be we would just go eat and leave. It's not even a restaurant, but there's a place not too far from here on the south side called Phil's. It's I think the closest proximity wise, but it's the best example of Chicago thin crust. I think it's the best there is.
Chicago. I didn't even know there was Chicago
without driving.
Yeah.
Oh, it's that's
style.
Cutting a
deep dish is a time or 2 year thing.
Okay.
For most people.
Yeah, you guys don't eat that. That's how when I was in LA, that's how I treated In-N-Out was basically I never ate In-N-Out until people came to visit, and then they're we want to do In-N-Out, and then that's when I would eat In-N-Out.
Makes sense.
I feel like deep dish might be that way in Chicago.
Kinda, yeah.
That seems
to an extent, yeah, for sure.
When people want to, yeah. All right, well. This is cool. How do people view Chicagoans in your
They
experience?
think
like,
that we're
nation,
all
like,
we
like,
have
what's the-
just guns like falling out of our
That's
pocket and
Chirac.
shooting
Yeah.
everybody.
Chirac,
everywhere.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that. I want to prepare for that too. Is like when I, if I do travel somewhere and everyone's like, "Where do you live?" and I say Chicago. What's the?
That's the first thing.
That's the.
Yeah.
first
Yeah,
thing
that's
to
the
be
first
like,
thing
Oh,
everybody will
you're gonna
bring up,
yeah.
yeah.
And you haven't been shot yet?
Yep.
Yeah.
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 That's not,
Do you dodge bullets
First
all
thing.
day? All day? Yeah, every day.
Every day.
I've heard gunshots one time in the 11 years I've lived in the city.
I've heard a lot more than that.
I've heard once. I mean, I don't know.
Well, whatever. But twice at the Thomas Street apartment, 3 times on Chicago Avenue. So
But who's counting?
Alright.
it was,
Yeah,
it was
Way down.
yeah.
All right, very fun way to end this.
So get your bulletproof vest.
Eddie,
Welcome
Eddie,
to Chirac.
Dave and Chief, appreciate you guys making time and yeah,
Sure.
Yeah,
We're
excited.
glad you're here.
Welcome, dude.
I'm excited to be here, and I'm going to Wrigley tonight while the Cubs are still semi-competitive before they
Start selling.
start selling everybody.
Were you
which,
intimidated when I swished that pop shot right in your eyeball?
You did,
from
yeah,
3?
yeah.
You're like, I
are
might
you
not.
worried we're moving offices and you're gonna get the? You're gonna have a new Papa shot to. Are you the guy in the office like that wins all these games and shit? Like I saw you throwing darts too, and you got like.
Disputed, yeah. Well, I'm worried. I'm wondering if you're worried that you don't have the best jump shot in the new office. That's what I'm worried about. So we'll have to
I'm
test
trying
that
to
out.
handicap. I am trying to get a feel for because we're gonna have like a freaking huge full court. That's what I've been told in the office. And I'm trying to like handicap everyone's games, not just with basketball, but like all the other shit that's going on. Like who's like because Brandon thinks he's good at everything, but then Brandon's also there's no way Brandon's good at basketball. Brandon like can't even walk down the street without huffing and puffing. So like I'm not worried about Brandon whatsoever. Like Brandon's sending me videos of him putting jump shots up in his driveway. And
I feel like he's kind of a wide body. I feel like on the block he might be a problem.
he might be, yeah. But
I don't want to guard him.
Basketball or otherwise, like I'm just like I'm trying to get a sense of like who's good at what with like I saw you throwing darts over there. That was
I'm not very good at darts.
You're not
so.
good at darts?
I like to throw them, but I wouldn't say I'm good.
Yeah. And we're gonna have like a golf simulator and shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not very good at that either.
Yeah.
But
everybody's golfing though. That's what we
Yeah,
should-
everybody's golfing a lot right now.
Yeah, the bar like somewhere everyone got jealous of the foreplay guys. Everyone's just like,
Right.
I mean,
we're
they
gonna-
did.
Yeah, they're all like,
they figured it out.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they
like,
cracked
what
the code.
what an incredible setup they have.
Yeah.
We should all get into golf content.
Yeah.
And now,
Just box them out.
yeah, especially all the PMT guys are. I think I'm supposed
Hank
to
is
go golf
big
with,
into it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
think
played
I'm
with-
supposed
I
to
played
golf
with him
Hank.
once. Yeah.
Is he good? That's what I'm trying to feel out because like Jake wants to go golf and PFT
Yeah.
wants to golf, and I'm someone who I only want to do something if I know I'm better than everyone else at it.
Okay, I will say that.
So like I'm like, yeah, I'll golf because I'm probably better than you guys, but I'm worried that like Jake feels like he could be sneaky good.
I could see that. When I played with PFT, he did hit a drive a legit 310. One drive, like, but when he like connected, it was like holy shit.
PFT's
dude.
the guy that swings out of his shoes and is hitting them in the woods like crazy, but then he hits the one good shot.
It was like gorgeous. And it was like right down the
I
middle
think
of the
Brandon
fairway.
has that in him too. I think Brandon can
Does
just
he?
pipe.
Brandon's a big
Yeah.
dude.
I think
He
he
is
could
pretty
pipe
big.
a big drive,
Yeah.
but then his golf
Yeah.
game's probably terrible. He posts terrible scores,
yeah.
but like he can smoke the
that.
smoke the awful. All right, guys.
right.
Thanks for letting me use your studio. By the way,
course.
Thanks
Of course,
for.
Glad
thanks
you're
for
here.
coming
Are you
on.
gonna start coming in like daily or what?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I
You wanna
live like
come
right
hang
down
out?
the road. Down there,
You
just
can-
right
you can
down
come
there.
on our show tomorrow if
just
you want.
Yeah,
come
come on our show tomorrow.
Yeah, sure. I'll do it.
All right.
Appreciate
Now
it.
he
boys.
has to. We boxed
Yep.
him into that.
There you go.
All right. Thank you to Eddie. Thank you to White Sox Dave. Thank you to Chief. Fun talking to those guys. I still now that they're out of the room, I'll say it. I don't get the hot dog thing. I don't. Is this something, TJ, that you? How comfortable do you feel about this? About
You mean you don't get hot dogs, or you don't get that they put like tomatoes and pickles and?
I don't get having an opinion on hot dogs. Hot dogs to me, I eat hot dogs maybe like 3 times a year, and that's not even a health thing. It's a hot dog. It's just like they're hot dogs. They're fucking hot dogs. Like who's cooking up hot dogs in your house? Like that's like the idea of making hot dogs for dinner just seems. I as much as anyone else, I will go to the ballpark. I'll get a hot dog. You're at a backyard cookout. Someone's making burgers and dogs. I'll probably have one of each. You know. But a hot dog is not a meal that I don't seek out hot dogs. I don't have any opinions on hot dogs. So that's the part that's intimidating to me, is that like I'm moving to the city and I feel like I'm getting a lot of, hey man, welcome to Chicago. Rule number 1, don't put ketchup only on your hot dog. And I'm like, that's a very bizarre rule number 1. That's of all the rules, we're starting with that. That's the part that's confusing to me.
I don't know. I like hot dogs. I'm not going to ever try a Chicago style hot dog. I have no interest in that many things on top of a hot dog. But
Yeah.
I would say I'm in the pro hot dog category. I think I grew up eating hot dogs pretty often. Hot dogs and mac and cheese was like
Did you cut?
mom's out of the house, dad's cooking dinner type meal.
That's true. Did you cut them into an octopus? My mom would. My mom would do that the few times we would eat hot dogs in the house. We get the octopus hot dogs. I don't know. I guess that's something I got to work on if I'm gonna live here. Is I can't walk around telling people I'm not a hot dog guy, but I just like. I've spent more time thinking about hot dogs in the last like 48 hours than probably the rest of my life combined. And that's the part that's weird to me. Is just like I didn't know I was supposed to have takes on hot dogs. You know, the pizza I was prepared for. Like the pizza, the deep dish pizza versus I know the New York, Chicago. Like I can rap on that a little bit. You know, like I was prepared for that. Hot dogs I was not prepared for, and it's just catching me off guard a little bit. That's all.
Are you a deep dish guy? I know you said that you just don't like waiting.
Yeah, I like deep dish a lot. I love deep dish. I still think I prefer the New York, just massive slice. That's my favorite pizza experience. It's just like 1:30 a.m. in Manhattan, and I'm hungry for some reason, and I just go. I just find a pizza place and get 2 slices, and that's my favorite pizza experience on earth. But I really, really, really like deep dish pizza. I do. It's just what I told those guys. My frustration with deep dish is not like I don't care that it's a casserole. I know what it is, and it's good, and I like it. Whatever you want to call it. If you want to say it's not pizza and it's like a soupy mess, that's fine. Then give me a slice of soupy mess. Whatever you want to call it, I like it. My only frustration is just like I'm usually very, very hungry when I decide let's go to this place. Like Luminati's is like my favorite. Giordano's and Luminati's I think are the 2 chains here. So if I'm at like Luminati's and I order the pizza, my frustration is that I just feel like I'm sitting there waiting for an hour for them to make my food, and I get starving. So anyway, that's it. Otherwise it's good. Otherwise once it comes I'm like, yes, this is very good. But yeah, I'm here. When's your official timeline, TJ? When are you getting here? Now I just feel like now that I'm here, I'm just like, when's everyone else getting here? When's this party starting?
The Yak moves the last week of August, so that is when I'll be there. It's like the 27th.
You've told me this like 100 times, and I'm gonna keep asking you.
I signed a lease this weekend, so it's happening.
It's officially happening. Shout outs before we go. Anything you want to shout out? Anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah, I got eyeball season back on the Rutgers recruiting trail. Did you see this Ron Harper Sr. quote?
No. What is it?
They asked Ron Harper Sr. about Dylan Harper, who's the number 1 recruit in 2024.
Yep.
If he had any advice about where he should go. And he said, I told him, your grandma and grandpa have been driving you around since you are 1 day old. You can reward them by staying close and going to Rutgers.
Whoa. That's big time. TJ. It might be happening.
People keep asking me, like, realistically, what would happen if the number 1 and number 2 recruit were in 2024 were both going to Rutgers, and I don't really know how I would process that.
So what? Let's get ahead of ourselves a little bit. If in fact they do commit to Rutgers, do you feel like you will have some sort of expectation, or is just the fact that they've committed to Rutgers already a win for you? Or are you saying like, this is fun? I'm very excited, but also like, damn, we have to make the Final Four now.
The journey is awesome, but like if we had the number 1 and number 2 recruit in the country, is it crazy to say that Rutgers would be in most people's national title or Final Four predictions?
I think all else being equal, because it depends on what the rest of the country is looking like. I'm not going to say Rutgers is going to be the favorite or anything, but I think you will be in the conversation in the sense of like we'll have to explain why we don't think Rutgers is going to win the title. You'll be one of the teams that's like, we're going in like as we sit here right now. Purdue and Kansas and Michigan State and Marquette's in the mix, Duke's in the mix for this upcoming college basketball season. I think Rutgers would be one of those teams where it's like I don't know if Marquette's going to win the national title. They probably aren't, but they're a team that I'm going to mention when I'm talking about teams that may or may not win the national title, and that's a win for Rutgers. That's a huge win for Rutgers.
And that's so foreign to the entire fan base that I truly don't know what type of person I would become if that actually happened.
So how many eyeball emojis are we up to then?
That I would say like 8.2 out of 10 eyeball emojis. I don't think he's committing anytime soon. He said he wants to wait until he's like playing like in his senior season. So we got time, but everything I hear is good. Is good for us.
This would be. I mean, I'd be very, very happy for you. As I was trying to explain to Dave, and he wasn't trying to hear it. I do cheer for my friends and coworkers' teams, unless it, if it directly competes with mine. I'm not going to be cheering for Michigan football when I'm watching with Dave. There are certain lines I'm going to draw in the sand. But in general, I want my friends and coworkers and everybody to be happy. So I would be over the moon about this if Rutgers.
It would be one of the all-time one and done experiences in the Big Ten too. That would be this is your only opportunity probably ever.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Not a lot of Rutgers representation in Chicago, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, when the Big Ten basketball tournament was last there in 2019, I went and this was before I was working at Barstool. I was still in school, and somebody took a picture of me at the United Center and said, "Wow, found one, the first Rutgers fan I've seen this weekend so far." It's just a picture of me eating chicken fingers.
It's pretty bleak for the Rutgers representation, but if it makes you feel better, there's I've not seen a lot of Maryland either, which is to be expected. But I am quickly learning that is a good litmus test for who should be added to the Big Ten and who should not. It's just like, come to Chicago. What does the alumni base look like? As we live in this world of conference realignment, I think that's how you should do it. It's just like, how many alums are in the city of Chicago, and if there's a good representation. Kansas has a decent representation. Maybe it's just like around where I'm living, but I've seen a lot of Kansas stuff, which I found slightly surprising. I don't know. Kansas is in the Midwest. That checks out in that regard, but I don't know. I just like I'm a little surprised by that. Maybe I shouldn't be, but that's my initial read on it, is that Kansas might have to end up in the Big Ten because they have great representation in Chicago. I've seen way more Kansas stuff than Maryland and Rutgers combined. I'll put it that way, which checks out. Maryland and Rutgers are not Midwest places. My only shout out before we go is John Calipari and the University of Kentucky men's basketball team, who won the Global Jam. I'm going to just say it. They won an event that I didn't even realize existed until they were going to represent the United States in the event. But I'll be damned, they won it for the United States. And this Kentucky team was setting up as I was reading the tea leaves on this Kentucky team as recently as 2 weeks ago, I would say, this was setting up to be an all-time content year for Kentucky, because it feels like the pressure's never been higher on Cal to get his act together and show some signs of life, some signs that 2015 when Kentucky lost to Wisconsin in 2015, it felt like the program kind of died, and it's taken a while for that feels a little strong. The Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox, Bam Adebayo team was fun and good, but that was kind of like a moment in time where went from Cal, maybe not the program died, but Cal died. John Calipari, as we know him died, and boy, it's been a rough stretch for Kentucky these last few years. And they have the number one recruiting class in the country coming in to the for this upcoming season, and if this was 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, somewhere in that era, and this group of guys was coming to Kentucky, I think you could talk yourself into Kentucky maybe being the number one team in the country. Certainly they're like second, third, fourth, whatever. But like that's how we used to treat John Calipari teams. Was when they have as much talent as this team has, you just trusted that they were going to be in the mix. Cal has eroded all that trust. That guys like me that are like national, I don't care one way or another, and there's some teams at Kentucky I like, some teams I don't. He has eroded the trust where it's like if you just give John Calipari talent, they're going to be in the mix. That is no longer the case. And I thought coming into this season we were going to see just Cal has so much pressure to get the magic back, and he has so much talent where there's kind of no excuses at this point. It felt like it's either going to be a train wreck or it's going to be a return to form for Cal. But it just feels like the content's going to be awesome. And so far, the early read is that this team is going to be way better than I thought they would be, because the competition was not great. We should say that in this Global Jam, whatever the hell it's called, Global Jam. But Antonio Reeves looks awesome. The freshman, I was shocked at how well they were sharing the ball, because I thought that DJ Wagner and Robert Dillingham would just pound the shit out of the basketball and not pass at all and just be completely ball dominant. And I thought there was a chance where this was going to be more of a train wreck. And there still is, by the way. We've also seen this story before from Cal and Kentucky, that they win the offseason. There's a lot of buzz going into the season. But honestly, where Kentucky's at as a program right now, which isn't to say that they are a complete laughingstock, the saving grace for them is that Louisville is so bad coming off of last year that comparatively speaking, Kentucky's not even in the same ballpark. But I'm going to call it what it is. Like the magic is gone from Cal and from Lexington, and they need to get it back. And for the longest time there, like the people that didn't pay a ton of attention to college basketball would tell you going into any season that Duke and Kentucky were probably the number one and number two teams, because that was just like what the perception was nationally for casual fans. Like Duke and Kentucky were the two teams that were playing the one and done game. They were the two brands that were dominating all the discussions. When I was doing offseason shows, there wasn't a lot to talk about. You talk about Duke and Kentucky. Hell, I'm doing it right now. This is already a win for Kentucky. It's an offseason show, and I'm talking about Kentucky. Maybe Kentucky's back for that reason alone. But that part has dissipated with Cal and with Kentucky, the offseason excitement, and now it is back. So I don't know. I don't think we're going to hang a banner in Rupp Arena just yet, but the team certainly played well in this Global Jam thing, won the whole thing. And it wasn't just that they won; it was how they were playing, sharing the basketball. There's a lot of athleticism on the parade. Like Shibwe, I will defend Shibwe. I will always like Oscar Shibwe. One, because he's a great dude, and like he just has like an infectious personality. And he was, and I think that is reason enough. Number two, he played his ass off. So for all of his problems with, ultimately, like he has a very obvious talent ceiling, the guy played his ass off, and that was admirable. But man, he was kind of the elephant in the room, we'll say, with Kentucky, was that your National Player of the Year was a guy that like you kind of didn't want back. I think when he didn't come back, that was actually a huge W for Kentucky, that he's not clogging the lane, and you don't feel like you have to play him because he's national. Like what a weird problem to have, that the guy's the National Player of the Year, and you're like, damn, I think we'd be better off without him. But you also don't want to say that out loud. It's not like anybody. If I was a Kentucky fan, that would feel even weird to say out loud, because they've had two National Player of the Year, I think, in the history of the program. It was Anthony Davis and Oscar Shibwe now. So that feels it was just like a bizarre, uncomfortable situation to be in. And now they don't have to worry about that anymore. And now I think they can play small. They can play. We'll see, though. I don't know. Like I said, we'll see if Cal starts overthinking things when the season starts, and there's still a million ways for this to go wrong for Kentucky, but I was very, very impressed with how good Kentucky played, because I did not have super high expectations for this team, even though they are super talented and this number one recruiting class in the country. I don't know. Cal has to earn my trust again. I'll put it that way. And I'm not going to overreact to the global jam thing in July, but all things being equal, you would rather, if you're a Kentucky fan, you would rather see Kentucky play well in this thing than not play well. And they checked the first box. They played well. So shout out to Kentucky. I think they're going to be better than I expected them to be going into this season. So I think that's my one shout out. That might be
for the record. I'm absolutely 1,000% hanging a banner. If like world champions, that's an absolute banner going up.
Oh yeah, global. We're like
global champions.
Maybe that's the vision all along. Is like John Calipari's like, who gives a shit about the national championship? I'm not trying to win national championships. I'm trying to win global championships. What a weird concept, by the way. That I know this isn't the first time this has ever happened, so I don't mean to like say it's weird that Kentucky represented America. This happens pretty regularly. Is that like some college team gets picked to represent America? But that's a weird tradition. Why don't we put together a team? Because TJ, I am the guy. I am the loudest voice, the loudest. I am the one guy that's shouting from the mountaintops that USA basketball needs to lock in a little bit, and I'm slightly worried about the future of USA basketball. And everyone else, I feel like the rest of the country, I should say, shrugs their shoulders and says, "Nah, we'll be fine. We're America. We dominate basketball. We have more talent than anybody. Yada yada yada. We'll be fine." I don't know. I'm worried. I would love to see the global jam. I would love to see us put together a team of actual young talent that some thought is put into it, other than just like, hey, Kentucky, you want to do it this year? Cool, you do it. Kansas, you want to do it this year? Go ahead, your turn. Purdue, your turn. You go now.
Didn't we just announce a Team USA roster for something? Why?
Yeah, that's for that's for the World Cup coming up. Which I think this team that we have, the World Cup team, is not even close to the most talented team we could put together, obviously. But
why didn't that team play in the FIBA Global Cup? Not that it mattered, obviously.
Why doesn't Kentucky play in the World Cup? the second Team USA loses, Brandon Ingram and Jalen Brunson and those guys lose, I'm going to ask that question, TJ. Why don't we just send Kentucky? Why isn't Antonio Reeves leading America to World Cup glory? Oh, shout out to Dick Vitale, by the way. I don't think I mentioned him on the show, but I saw Dick Vitale has vocal cord cancer, and I'm very sad about that. And anytime Dick Vitale's in the news, I make it abundantly clear that I am a Dick Vitale guy, and I'm going to do that again and say that Dick Vitale. I've always been a Dick Vitale guy. I think there's a moment in time where people, I don't want to say like people turned on him, but I don't know. You just what the criticisms are, TJ, of Dick Vitale. I don't want to hear it. I've never wanted to hear it. I think the guy is basically invented broadcasting college basketball. Like, he was the first like broadcaster of college basketball. And the one thing that Dick Vitale knew well before anyone, well, maybe not before anybody, but the one thing he knew from the start, and the one thing that he's been consistent with from the start, is that what makes college basketball great ultimately is the passion, is the fact that the student sections are bonkers, the alumni bases are bonkers. It is the passion, and he tapped into that immediately. He has always tapped into that. He's never lost sight of that. That like the one thing that if you were arguing for college basketball over NBA or any other form of basketball, you would start with the passion of the fans. And he's represented that. And so, like, yeah, for some people, he's, like, loud and annoying and doesn't talk about the game enough. But he got the first thing right, and so many commentators don't get that first thing right, which is that we're just here to be passionate about our teams. We're not here to, like, hear how smart you are or, we get it. You're trying to get a coaching job somewhere, color commentator. Like, shut the hell up and, like, that's my opinion on it. I'm totally fine with Dick Vitale just screaming, oh, he died, and like adding nothing else other than that, because that to me is what college basketball is just, at the end of the day, it's just like pure freaking excitement about the sport you're watching, and he brings that to the table, and I freaking love him, and I always will love him. Yeah, you're a Vital guy because he's a Rutgers guy, right?
Of course, always.
Yeah, you got to be a Vital guy, but
he's also, there's just not that many guys like that left. I feel like that come to mind, like Bill Walton, like true characters of basketball that are like on air still, and he's undeniably one of the biggest characters in college basketball.
I don't mean to say that like the commentators can't be annoying at times, and they're ticks, and there are times where if you're watching a game and Vital or someone else is talking more about the other team than your team, you get frustrated. It's like, oh my God, why does he love those other guys so much more? And he hates our team. Oh, this is stupid. But I swear, if you build a commentator based on the internet's desire for like what they're trying to hear out of commentators, it would be the most boring guy of all time. Like that guy would suck. That guy would be so terrible at the job. And I do think that characters are necessary, especially in a sport like college basketball. So whether you love him or whether you find him annoying or not, you have to appreciate that he is a character. You have to appreciate what that is, like that's the whole song and dance of what this sport is we want coaches to be characters. We want players to be characters. We want commentators to be characters. That's how it works. And Dick Vitale is an all-time legendary character. And I hope he calls college basketball games forever. And anytime I see news about him not being in great health, it bumps me out. So anyway, shout out Dickie V. Get the feeling better, and hopefully we can do that. That's one thing I don't mind, by the way, is if we do like a Dick Vitale farewell tour every year, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with because Dickie V's not bringing it on himself. I was fine with that. Like when we talked about Nance at the Final Four, I wanted to walk some of that back because I was so worried that like Nance was going to make it all about himself. He did not. Nance was awesome. Dickie V's not. I don't feel like he's trying to make it about it. I feel like the ESPN and the college basketball community at large is just they love the man. So, but yeah, I don't. If he goes through this battle of vocal cord cancer and then comes out the other side ready to call some games, and we kind of do the same thing again, where like every arena he goes to, everyone gives him a standing ovation and he's crying on air, and I'm fine with that. We could do this for the next 10 years. Every arena Dick Vitale goes to, he gets a standing ovation and he cries. That's fine by me. I sign me up for that. I will join in on that. So, yeah. I think that might be it. Shout out my movers in Chicago. You guys were awesome. I wish I knew what your company was called. This would be the time where I would actually make it useful and plug the company. I don't remember, but yeah, the move, TJ, ended up being very smooth. I'm very excited. This house I have is stupid. I have a basketball court on the roof of my garage.
Yeah, I saw that on your Instagram. That's like in the building or something.
It's just on the roof of the garage. It's mine. It's my own basketball court. It's like it's a very small basketball court. I think I'm gonna get good at free throws and like 3-foot baseline jump shots. But yeah, we're gonna get out there and get some shots up. And I'm so happy to be living here. I don't know. I loved LA. I love my time there. I'm not supposed to say that. People want me to say I freaking hated LA. I didn't. It was awesome. But I couldn't be more excited to be back in the Midwest and just hearing these guys, hearing the Chicago guys talking about the Big Ten football bars and all that. It just got the juices flowing, man. I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited college football season's going to rule. But yeah, that's the show. We'll be back on Thursday. I think I'm going to get Brandon to come on the show. I think we got to do a Brandon show. I think I'm going to get Brandon to drive in from the office. He lives in freaking Wisconsin. So I'm going to, if nothing else, I'm going to do that. Or maybe I should tell Brandon, maybe I should bump Brandon. I should say, I want to do a show with you, and then make him drive in and then say, oh shit, I meant to text you. Something came up. We're going to push you to next week. But I think we're going to do a Brandon show. I got to get Brandon on here and talk to him about catching his fish and all this other bullshit we've got going on. So, thanks for listening. Thank you to the Chicago guys once again for coming on the show. And we will see you guys Thursday.